The story begins with Spider-Man thrown off the building while cracking jokes about the definition of defenestration. He returns to the building and confronts the Green Goblin, who shoots and throws a grenade at him. The Green Goblin even uses throwing weapons, which nicked Spider-Man's costume. Typical of Spider-Man, he cracks jokes while fighting villains while skillfully dodging all their attacks, but often it gets the better of him. As Spidey lay down covered in hors d'oeuvres, Green Goblin is itching to take a stab at him when he is reminded of how the night started. Earlier that night, Midtown Manhattan Magnet, M3 for short, High School is throwing a fall formal for its students. Harry Osborn, aka the Green Goblin, and his friends show up to school fashionably in a limousine care of Harry. He assures his friends not to worry and that his chauffeur is at their beck and call. When they showed up for registration, they voted for King and Queen of the Night. When discussing who to vote for, Flash Thompson confidently claims they will be voting for him, and Liz Allen claims that they are the only ones worthy. Randolph Robertson claims his vote is going for Harry for their smooth ride in hosting the after-party. Harry reveals that he is treating them to Le Hasefiyet after the formal, which is the best restaurant in town. When Gwen Stacy tries to get Harry's attention, he brushes her off and went ahead and got a picture with his friends. When Harry ignored Gwen, she made a sarcastic remark about his tie stopping the blood from reaching his brain. While Harry and his friends are having their picture taken, they are taken aback when Peter Parker, aka Spider-Man, showed up with Mary Jane Watson to the formal as his date. J. Jonah Jameson is panicking at the Daily Bugle, trying to get ready for a big night while struggling with his bow tie. Ned Lee tries to convince him to write an expose on Spider-Man's secret identity. Jameson fears the consequences if Spider-Man turns out to be just a regular guy and thinks no one would want to see pictures of a regular guy. While debating the topic, J. Jonah Jameson III, Mr. Jameson's son, shows up. Jameson is exceptionally proud of his son, who has become an Air Force colonel and will soon be piloting his first manned mission to space next week, hence why he called him out for one final night in town before flying to outer space. Jameson then drags his son and introduces him to everyone. At the same time, Joseph Robertson, the editor-in-chief of the Daily Bugle, gives Ned the go signal on the Spider-Man expose that he was pitching to Mr. Jameson. Back at the formal, Peter introduces Mary Jane to his favorite professor, Miles Warren. Gwen feels terrible when she initially thinks Peter wouldn't be able to go to the formal, but realizes he meant he wasn't going with her. Meanwhile, Harry and the others are perplexed about how Peter made Mary Jane agree to go to the formal with him. Harry tries changing the topic, but the others are still hung up. Peter introduced Mary Jane to the others, which he explains are the popular kids at school. Flash remembers the bet he made with Peter before the formal, so he tries to rile up Mary Jane about it, but fails when she is okay with it. In fact, she made fun of how Flash lost the bet and how great he would look in a cheerleader outfit. She then drags Peter to the dance floor, which makes everyone envious too, so they hit the dance floor to impress the new girl with their slick dance moves. Harry asks his date, Glory Grant, to dance, but she explains that she has no plans of impressing anyone. So Harry offers to get her punch instead. While pouring a glass for Glory, Kenny Kong speaks to Glory and makes up with her, leaving Harry flying solo for the formal. Furious for seeing his date make up with her ex, Harry crushes the glass, spilling punch all over his expensive suit. He then ran away and grabbed a Green Goblin potion from his locker, which he drank in one gulp before heading out of school. Later that night at Oscorp, Otto Octavius was alone at the labs when the Green Goblin showed up with Mr. Osborn's latest tech flight glider. Although he tried to stop him, the Green Goblin brushed him off and flew away. Meanwhile, somewhere in New York City, 3 thieves are trying to pry open a vault they stole, fearing that Spider-Man would have caught them at the crime scene. One of the thieves explains that Hammerhead is waiting for the big man's cut when Green Goblin shows up out of nowhere. When they try to fight back, the Green Goblin disposes of them quickly and demands their loyalty to him in exchange for their lives. He then uses a small bomb to break into the vault they were struggling with. One of the thieves explained that although they appreciate the help, they are loyal to Tombstone and fear switching loyalties will get them killed. Green Goblin reassured them that he would deal with Tombstone himself. Thompson Lincoln, aka Tombstone, has hosted a party in town to celebrate the opening of the Lincoln Dynamic Youth Center. Although the party was great, John Jameson thought having steak with his father would be enough for the night. Mr. Jameson tried to bail on the party with his son when armed masked robbers stopped them and cut off their escape to the elevator and the stairs. Out of nowhere, Green Goblin flies in through the building's window and holds everyone hostage while looking for Tombstone. When the guards try to take him out, he instead disposes of them. While everyone else is distracted by the Green Goblin, John Jameson disarms one of the robbers and commandeers one of its guns when the Green Goblin hits him with his powers. Given John's expression, the attack did more damage than it looked. Mr. Jameson called his editor-in-chief Robertson and asked him to call Peter for photo coverage while he insisted on covering the story by himself. Peter later received a call from Mr. Robertson who asks him to go to where Mr. Jameson is to do photo coverage of the Green Goblin. Instead of getting angry at Peter for bailing on her, Mary Jane is cool with it and decides to hang out with the popular kids. She urges him to return as she would save him the last dance. When the others thought she would be depressed for being ditched by Peter for work, she steals Sally Averill's date, who has very much obliged her request. Later, Flash Thompson and Mary Jane Watson were announced king and queen of the night, which made the other girls more furious. Gwen claims seeing Peter's date with Flash made her smile. Green Goblin claims he wants to take over Tombstone's criminal empire when Spider-Man suddenly shows up at the party. Tombstone explains that the Green Goblin does not work for him. Seeing they both dislike Tombstone, Green Goblin offers Spider-Man to work together, claiming that they could rule New York City if they combine their powers, but he turns him down. With negotiations off the table, the battle ensues while everyone else is forced to watch. Spider-Man charges at the Green Goblin but easily dodges him while the Green Goblin furiously shoots him with his powers. Spider-Man tries to sling a couple of chairs at him, but he destroys it, and he gets shot at point-blank range, which sends Spider-Man flying off the building. Spider-Man returns to the building, but the Green Goblin continues attacking him. Spider-Man loses his balance on the table, where food spills all over him. And we've caught up from whence we started. Spider-Man chased after the Green Goblin and managed to get close enough to restrain him. But the Green Goblin flew him off somewhere. Green Goblin breaks free from Spider-Man but furiously sticks to him with his glider using sticky webs. Out of nowhere, Spider-Man runs out of web shooters and falls at a great height. As he was about to come crashing down, he reloaded his web shooters in the nick of time with a spare one he had on him. He then gathers momentum to get back into the air when the Green Goblin rams into him and throws him back to the wall. Green Goblin then starts throwing bombs at Spider-Man but keeps on missing. He claims practice makes perfect, but Spider-Man thinks otherwise. Spider-Man lures him to a construction site for a foothold in their aerial battle. When the Green Goblin starts throwing bladed weapons and a bomb at him, Spider-Man throws the grenade back at him, throwing him off for a bit. He then uses his chance to distract the Green Goblin as the glider crashes into a building. When Spider-Man thought the Green Goblin would get thrown off by it, he jumps and makes an excellent landing on his glider. He then chases after Spider-Man, who is scaling on the side of a building when he suddenly jumps behind him and pulls off the glider. Spider-Man then restrained him with his web on the side of the building when the Green Goblin claimed to have left a bomb for Tombstone back at the facility. Spider-Man rushes back to the building and urges everyone to clear it, villains included. When the masked robbers claim to only work for the Green Goblin, Tombstone threatens them about making an enemy out of him. John helps the guests escape the building through the stairs while Spider-Man keeps looking for the bomb. He tore the place apart looking for the bomb when he saw Tombstone had yet to evacuate with the others. Tombstone claims that since it was his party, he would clean up his mess. John later notices that the Green Goblin is acting oddly with the chandelier and thinks the bomb must be hidden there. He climbs back up the stairs to inform Spider-Man, who thanks him for his help. While urging him and his father to continue with evacuations, Spider-Man finds the bomb seconds before it explodes and slingshots it into the air. The bomb goes off, but no one gets hurt. With the bomb cleared away, Tombstone pointed out the irony when Spider-Man was forced to save him for free, when he initially turned down his offer when Tombstone tried to recruit him and offered vast sums of money. With everyone saved, Mr. Jameson is excited to print out the story he talks about headlines with his editor-in-chief. When Mr. Jameson initially suggested putting his son's name on the headline and giving him credit for saving New York City, John urged his father otherwise, as he fears an investigation would remove him from the mission list. Although against it, Mr. Jameson decided to give the credit to Spider-Man instead. He also demands Peter Parker fired as he never showed up, but Mr. Robertson claims that Peter has just sent pictures for the story. When Spider-Man returned to where he left the Green Goblin, he was already missing. Meanwhile, Harry returns to being a human who overhears his so-called friends looking for him. Realizing they were just using him for his money, Harry drank another vial of the Green Goblin potion and walked away. Peter returns to the Formal and finds Mary Jane dancing with another man. Peter sits in a corner worried that he blew up his date with her, when Mary Jane walks up and says she saved the last dance for him. They then danced the rest of the evening while everyone went home. The end. Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos, and please make sure to subscribe and tap the bell to be notified about our latest videos. See you next time.